Hey everyone, it's Andrew Bryanton back here for my next video blog, and we're going to get back into specifically running training. The last couple of video blogs have been a little on the life side, or a lot on the life side. So let's jump back into running here and get back into the meat and potatoes of training for marathons or 10K races, half marathons, whatever the case may be. And what I'm going to get into today is the time of day that you should be training. Now, everyone's different. Every body is different. I'm going from my perspective and the advantages that I see into running a certain time each day. And I'll list them. Now, they may be different for your situation, but I would say for most people, my advice should hold true. And you'll see with my reasons that I'll give. I'm going to give the top 5 reasons on why this time of the day is best for training. And you make your own conclusion at the end of it whether that holds true for you or not. So let's get into it. Reason number 1, and I guess I should start off in saying that the best time of the day for you to train is early morning. I've tried afternoon, I've tried night, I've tried after supper, I've tried before supper, I've tried everything, and my conclusion is early morning is best by far. And here are the reasons. So number 1, running early in the morning, you're less likely to make an excuse not to go. Now, there's always the temptation to hit snooze or whatever, but the one thing that there tends not to be, other plans early in the morning. When you're getting up at 5:30 or whatever the time may be before work, there's nothing else going on. There's no one else pestering you. Trust me on that one, to take your time. Or you're not feeling, tired at the end of the day. You may not have had a great sleep, but so what? It's like you get used to it for that part. So you're less likely to make an excuse early in the morning. And that's my key to the first reason, is it keeps you on a normal schedule. It saves a few of those days where you just make an excuse. Now you're still going to have those days where you can't make it, but for the most part you're able to stick to it a little bit easier if you go early in the morning. Okay, so that's number 1. Second reason is you're more likely, once you run early in the morning, so for me, before going to work, for example, it could be 5:30 or 6, and you get that, really what I'd say, you get that out of the way. So you get that done and over with. I find that I then have the rest of the day to potentially do other exercise. So whereas if you're getting up, 7 o'clock to go to work, I just find that you've got time then for a run at some point, but you really got no time for anything else. So by forcing yourself to get up early, you're getting that done out of the way. And now you have options later in the day, if you've got energy for it, to swim, to bike, to walk, or a little bit of all the above, potentially. For me, for example, I like going for walks. I like biking, and getting that extra non-impact workout in is huge for, as I've mentioned before in my video blogs, for keeping pounds off, for just allowing yourself to feel stronger the next day, because you're using different muscles when you're either swimming or biking or walking. So it's not like it makes you tired from doing that. I find it's the exact opposite. It actually gives you more energy. So that's my next reason, is you're more likely to do other exercise if you get running out first thing in the morning. Number 3, you're less likely to feel lightheaded in the morning. Now, I say that, and maybe it's just me, but have you ever felt like lightheaded when you're out running? There's 5 main reasons for that, at least that I've observed. There's probably more, but these are the top ones for feeling lightheaded. So when you've had a lot of sugar, Now, sugar can come in all different forms. It could come in a normal supper or lunch meal, whether it be sauces or whatever the case may be, stuff that maybe you don't realize there's a lot of sugar in there is. That's one reason that you'll feel lightheaded. Too much caffeine. So if you're in the morning, you're just going to have your usual cup of coffee, so you're not going to be going back for more cups of coffee. So you should be okay with that. If you're sitting too long, I find sometimes, and staring at a computer, that can be another reason that you feel lightheaded, because you all of a sudden then go out for a run and your body just doesn't like that adjustment from sitting all day to running. In the morning, I find if you're getting out of bed, you don't have that issue. Sometimes I find if I lay awake in bed too long before getting up, I'll have that feeling a little bit too. But just get out of bed. You know, if you got to go for 5:30, you probably don't have much time to lay around in bed anyways. And the last reason for feeling lightheaded is heat. So if it's really hot or humid, the morning helps with that as well, because of course it's not as warm in the morning. So you're less likely to feel lightheaded. That means that you can push harder in your morning training because you don't have those things that may impede your progress. Okay, so number 4, you're slower in the morning, so it's harder on your body, and that's a good thing. Now, it may not be a good thing when you're out there slogging away on the pavements, but anything that you can do that makes it a little bit harder is beneficial for you in the long run. So by going in the morning, I find for me, I'm about, compared to going in the morning to going, maybe later in the morning or in the afternoon, I'm about 5 seconds, I'd say 5 to 10 seconds slower per mile. Now, it may not seem like much, but when you add it up over a long period, and if you're, looking to qualify for a certain race or time, that is a big difference. So if you can train in the morning, it forces you to work a little bit harder, and it's not as easy maybe as running later in the day after your body's really got up and going. So doing it in the morning helps in that reason, because it's almost like you're giving yourself a little more resistance by doing so. And the last thing that I'll get into, or the last benefit to running early in the morning, reason number 5, and probably the most important thing, is when you're running races, about 99% of the races, what time do they start at? They start pretty early in the morning. Most will start between about 7 and 9 a.m. Now, there's exceptions to that, but that's where most of them tend to fall into. The marathons that I tend to go into, usually 8 o'clock, 8:30 is the start time for them. So the worst thing that you can do is well, maybe not the worst thing. You can do a lot of bad things. One bad thing to do is you always train later in the day, and then you all of a sudden start running marathons in the morning. Your body does not like that. I've done that. Trust me, your body doesn't like that. And especially if you're going in with a time and you're saying, oh yeah, I can, maintain that time, maybe take a little bit off of it because I'm going a longer distance. Well, what you probably didn't take into consideration is that your body isn't going to like the morning run, first of all. Second of all, you're going to be slower in the morning. Like, I'm slower in the morning and I'm used to running in the morning, and you're not if you're running later in the day. So all of that just is ingredients for disaster come race day. So you need to get your body used to running in the morning, because races happen in the morning, so get used to it. And that's really the key thing. I mean, they're all very important, but for that reason alone, if you're looking to push yourself, you need to run at the time that the race is happening so that your body will respond favorably to that. So again, this is my advice for probably 90% of the people out there. Now, there's probably people that have lists of benefits, and maybe their personal circumstances say they just can't do it, or they work shift work or whatever. Like, obviously that can't work for you. But if you're the average Joe working, 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever, for the most part, I would say 90% of the people should be running early in the morning if their schedule can allow to do so. So hopefully that helps, and keep at it. If you need to make the adjustment, make the adjustment. See, your body's not going to like it up front. I'll tell you that much. You're not going to go as fast, but your body, just like everything else, it eventually does get used to it. So that's what I have to say, and hopefully it's useful. If not, like I've said before, it works for me, may not work for you, but learn from my mistakes. That was one of the ones I made running later in the day and then trying to go into the marathon in the morning, and of course disaster ensues. So anyways, hopefully that helps. See you soon.